Welcome to WDEX, the Wired Differently Experience. My name is Todd Saylor, and I am the author of the book, The Brand and the Attitude Wired Differently. And my job is to love you, my job is to inspire you, and my job is to motivate you. The show's job, though, is to challenge the status quo, to actually dare you to not be average. 6 U-turns. I got 6 U-turns for you. I want you to pay attention. Most importantly, though, the way I spelled you, it's not like you're driving down the road and you do a U-turn, right? And you got to go back to where you were. I want you to understand these are 6 U-turns, 6 turns that you can make to make your life more profitable, more productive, happier. And I just wanted to give you a little story about, before we get into the first U-turn in life, about my grandson, Saylor. My grandson Saylor is 6 years old. He's an amazing young man. And we were driving to Waffle House yesterday. When we were on our way there, he says, "Papa, this is exciting." But he's, Papa, did you realize that it's Martin Luther King's birthday?" "Yeah, Saylor, I do know. Yeah, it's a national holiday on Monday. There's no banking at PayServe. We don't have any banking. So we're quite keenly aware of Martin Luther King Day." He said, Papa, did you know that he literally died for equal rights for all people? I said, "Yeah, Saylor, that's very good. That's very good. He did. He fought very hard. You're part black, right, Papa?" And his excitement was overwhelming. And I said, "No, Saylor, I'm not part black. But Mandy and Tommy and Reagan are black, and they're in our family, but they were adopted. You know that." He said, "Yeah, I know that. I was just hoping that you were black, Papa." And I said, "Well, I'm not. But it doesn't mean we're not good people." He said, Papa, but you don't understand. Please, I need to know, Papa. Were we slave holders back when you were younger?" I said, "No, Saylor, we weren't." "But Papa, can you imagine if it was the other way around?" I said, "Saylor, I have to be honest with you. I really can't even imagine." "Well, what am I supposed to think, Papa?" And I said, "I want you to imagine. And I don't want you to forget. Don't ever forget how you feel right now, imagining if it was the other way." See, Saylor Lincoln King was experiencing some anxiety, right? He was experiencing some fear, right? He wanted to be recognized with the black person, the oppressed person, the person that was taken advantage of. He wanted to not be recognized with the person who was doing those oppressions, right? He wanted to make sure that his papa was part black, because if his papa was part black, then he was part black, and then he would know that we weren't slaveholders, because maybe we were partly slaved. Saylor was out of control. His mind was out of control. He was trying to get it into control. And even at some point, Martin Luther King, he was out of control. His mind, his being, he was repressed. And a lot of people in that position, even now to this day, we're not in control. And when we're not in control, we're stressed out. When we're not in control, we're worried. When we're not in control, we're in pain. When we're not in control, we're a lot of things but happy. And it's not unlike that for little Saylor. When he really realized that we really weren't slave owners, all of a sudden, the lack of control, the lack of worry that he had became controlled. And his anxiety left. You need to turn no control into control. Number 2, I need you to turn your indecisiveness into decisiveness. Leaders are decisive. We're not procrastinators. You can't procrastinate in decisions and in businesses and making money and growing people and human beings. You can't procrastinate. You have to be decisive. General Schwarzkopf. Give you a quick story about old General Schwarzkopf. The Pentagon had to make a decision between a defensive tactic of A and a defensive tactic of B, and they've been going around and round and round for almost 5 years. Not one decision is made on which way to go with this defensive strategy. And the new general rocks up, and Mr. Schwarzkopf is his fledgling, and he says, "I'm going to brief you on this major decision we've been trying to make for the last 5 years, and here it is." They took an hour at it. And after they were done, Mr. Schwarzkopf said, "Now, Mr. General, I'm sure you're going to need more meetings and you're going to need more time to get this figured out, because I've got reams of paper here and we only had so much time." And the general stood up and he looked over the crowd and he said, I choose that one. Everybody stood up, said, yes, sir, we'll get it done. Mr. Schwarzkopf comes up to me and says, Mr. General, I don't understand. It's been almost 5 years. We've been debating this, and I only briefed you basically 1 hour. I just don't know how you could make a decision like that after 5 years and only being in here for 1 hour. The general looked at Mr. Schwarzkopf and he said, Mr. Schwarzkopf, do you realize you guys have been messing around this for almost a half a decade and nobody has made a decision? I made that decision and it will be right. And furthermore, if it is not right, we will make it right, and we will not be sitting around pontificating how to defend this country for the next 5 years. You understand, Mr. Schwarzkopf? Yes, sir, I do. Mr. Schwarzkopf learned very quickly that if the decision isn't right, but yet you're decisive, you can make adjustments. The third thing I want you to make a turn in your life on is certain. I need you to make a U-turn and turn your uncertainty to certainty. I need my managers to be certain. And even in their uncertainty, I want them to be certain in their uncertainty, because you don't know everything all the time, but you need to carry yourself in a certain posture. I need you in a certain state. A certain state is abounding in confidence. I'm making a big deal out of certain because certainty, the state of certainty, the state of your being, the way that you breathe, the way that you carry yourself for your family and your friends and your church and all the workers around you. I mean, I want you to be positively in a certain state. I'm going to switch the gears a little bit here. I want you to understand a term called automatic negative thoughts. Here we go. Are you ready? We need to turn ants into can'ts. C period, A period, N period, T period, apostrophe S. Can'ts. Cancel automatic negative thoughts. We need to beware of depression. We need to beware of our downs. We need to beware of these negative thoughts that creep up in our mind and they attack us. Little bombs that CNN puts in the back of our head. Little bombs, big bombs maybe that Fox News puts in the back of our head. Little bombs that our culture put in the back of our head. Little bombs that the bully on the play yard put in the back of our head. Little bombs that pushed you, it molded you, and made you a very difficult situation. These little bombs, and they land in the back of your head, and the neuroplasticity gobbles them up and puts them into your subconscious, and they whittle away, and every now and then they pop up unannounced. Bomb, negative thought. Bomb, negative thought. Bomb, negative thought. And we waller in these negative thoughts. We let them get in the back of our brain, and they move to the front of our brain, and they affect our attitude, and they take us out of a certain state. I need you to reprogram your brain from those automatic negative thoughts. When I start to get depressed and I start to have these automatic negative thoughts, I've conditioned my brain to immediately go to the Lord's Prayer. Todd, you're no good. Todd, you're going to lose all your money. Todd, you're going to wake up and everything's going to be ruined. Todd, this isn't working. And when that happens to me, I said, no, cancel. And I start right in with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, and we forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory forever. Amen. Our Father, I'll do 100 of them if I have to. Don't let that thought in. Number 5, I want you to turn just caring into sharing. Okay, so when we talk about little Saylor Lincoln King, my 6-year-old grandson, I mean, he cared so much about Papa, and hopefully he was black because he didn't want to be a part of that tragic story and be on the wrong side of that story, man. He was so distressed. But if he only cared, but he didn't share, it would be a waste of empathy. If Martin Luther King only cared, but he didn't share, if he only cared about the plight of the black person, if he only cared about inequality, and if he only cared about the unrighteous treating of all people in this situation, and he never got out and marched, he never went to the president's office, he never made a big stink, if he never made a speech, I have a dream, and he didn't share, where would we be? I'm going to ask you in number 6, which is faith. I'm going to ask you this one simple thing. I want you to take the turn of control, and I want you to turn control into faith. Once we take control and master control, and then we turn control into faith, now we got something. And I want to end this show. I want you all to understand I do care about you. I do love you. I do want to inspire, and I do want to motivate you. And more importantly, I want you to think differently. I want you to be and do and think differently. Catch me on my new podcast coming up, Wired Differently Experience. It's going to be great. Subscribe to my YouTube account. I love to teach with you. I like to share with you. God bless you guys. It was a great Sunday. Go out there and get it, right? We got this thing called life wired differently.